Cliff Physiotherapy YouTube channel. Today I am going to do a short sequence for those of you who do a lot of cycling. So if you're in the saddle for a lot of the time doing long rides, we get short through our hip flexors and we get a little tight through the front of our chest, a little bit stiff through our upper back. Sometimes our neck gets a bit stiff as well and our shoulders get a bit forward. So this practice is really just to open you all out and stretch through the whole body so that you'll be much more effective back on your bike. So I hope you all enjoy it. You don't really need to have done any yoga before, but please, I can't see you in this format. So please just take it easy. If you haven't done much mat work or stretching for a while or ever before, then please don't feel as if you have to go too mad the first time. I'd rather you use this practice on a regular basis and start it to slowly build up through your stretches, through your movement, but really trying to be aware of where your movement is happening from. Okay, we're going to get down onto 2 yoga blocks to begin with. If you don't have a yoga block, most cyclists do have a roller, so you can just lie on the roller if you don't have an actual yoga block. So the 2 yoga blocks that we're going to use are this shape. Just have a lie down, making a T with them, one for your body and one for your head. So let's have a lie down. So as we lie down onto the yoga blocks, have the bottom one that's long ways down through your thoracic spine and between your shoulder blades, and have your head resting on the other one. Okay, and then just have your feet just parallel to begin with, and just be really trying to open out through the front of this chest. And then we can just bring the soles of your feet together and allow your inner thighs just to release off. This is a lovely stretch for anybody who sits in the saddle for a while. Even if you don't do any cycling, this little series of stretches is really nice for anyone. Okay, so just going to take a nice deep breath in and take your arms over your head just as far as you can, really feeling nice and open. And a breath out brings your hands back down. And again, really try and find your end position here, so you're really opening. Try not to let the rib cage flare too much. And bring it back down. Try and use your breath with your movement, so big breath in, really expanding those lungs as you take your arms overhead, and breath out brings you back down. Just take your hands up to 90 and then open them out so that your shoulders are at 90 degrees and so is your elbows. And just see if you can open out like this. Don't worry if your hands don't touch the ground. Just find wherever feels comfortable, but really try and get that 90 degree at your shoulder here. And we're just going to wait here for a moment, just using your breath in and breath out, just to really open through these clavicles along across the front of the body. Tuck your chin in so your back is nice and long. And on your out breath, keep thinking about opening through the chest and also opening through those inner thighs. And we'll just wait and just find some nice open position. Good. Big breath in and big breath out. And then just slowly bring your knees back together and take your arms up. Just roll off your block and take them away. But we'll just take one of the blocks just below your pelvis. If you're using your roller, then send your roller across the bottom, right on your bony bit of your pelvis here. And then just let your legs open out and feel some nice openers through those front hips. Draw the rib cage down, use your abdominals here to draw back down towards the mat in this position. And so you're really allowing those hips to open out. What I don't want you to do is let that back flare away and arch. So draw down and then open the hips from that really drawn down pelvic position. Good. And then just take the arms overhead and reach, and then try and let your arms really come by your ears and just really relax here for a moment. Good. And then bring your right knee into your chest and give it a cuddle. Really drawing that hip up as far as you can, but still lengthening out through this other hip that's along the mat. And then we'll swap over sides. Lengthen through the other hip, really open out your right hip now as you draw your left knee in towards your chest. If this doesn't feel too good on the block, you can always do this just lying on your mat. Okay, the most important thing that nothing is painful while exercising, especially when you're exercising on a YouTube channel. And then pop both feet back down on the floor and take the block completely away. Well done. Just hug your knees into your chest and send both legs up to the ceiling. Try and get some nice length through your hamstring, and let's just point and flex the toe here. Just really working through those ankles, finding length through your calf, back of the knee and down into the back of your leg. Keep snuggling your pelvis back down onto the mat here. Good. Well done. Just open out your arms again into that cactus arm position and just feel really wide through your shoulders again. Tuck the chin in so the back of your neck is nice and long. Well done. Last big breath here, and then draw the knees in and just roll yourself up into sitting. Good. And let's turn over onto 4-point kneeling. So in your 4-point kneeling position, just making sure that your hands are directly underneath your shoulders and your knees are directly underneath your hips like this. And so that your back in between these 4 points is nice and flat. And then we'll do cat-cow. So a big breath in, lift your head, let your back come down, send your tailbone to the sky, and then breath out. Push your backbone right up to the ceiling. Push your shoulder blades away from each other and really draw in through these lower abdominals, arching the back as much as you can. Good. Big breath in, lift up. With this, really try and shine your heart forward, your chest forward, and draw through your shoulders. And then send your backbone up to the ceiling. Breath out. Good, one more time. Really try and find as many vertebrae as you can in this spinal position. Really warming the spine up. And then send it back up to the ceiling. Good. Then just walk your hands about 6 inches further forward, and then just send yourself back into child's pose. And really stretching those arms out forward and really lengthening through the side body. Maybe let the head just relax down here. And then come back up and just energise yourself over to half plank. Draw the abdominals up, rib cage in, drop the shoulder blades down and just energise here. Tuck the toes underneath and press yourself up and send your tailbone back and come back into downward facing dog. In down dog, you don't have to have your knees straight, but try and get your back nice and long and press away from the ground. Your hands are shoulder width apart and let your head be heavy here. Lovely. Lift your right leg up to the sky, bend the knee and then open out your hip. Squeeze through the bottom hip and open the top leg wide. Good. Feel long through the front of your thigh. Straighten that leg, 3-legged dog, and come through into a low lunge. Once you're in a low lunge, drop that back knee down and have lots of distance between your heel and your knee. And then lift your heart and allow that front pelvis to just drop down towards the mat. Good. Lift up the chest and open through those clavicles again and dropping through that back hip. Really wait here and feel nice and long. Good. And then just send yourself sort of between your feet, so between your knee and your foot, and open those arms again to cactus arms, 90 shoulders and 90 elbows. And when you're here then, drop forward, let the back hip open, and then lift your heart and find nice openness here. Good. And then come back to your mid position. Good, again, step forward with the shoulders, lift through the heart, drop that back hip down, and now put your hands down on the mat and send your tailbone back. Now for some of you this might look a little different. If your hamstrings aren't too long, your front knee might be bent, but still taking it back as far as you can. Try and keep your pelvis level. Then let your head drop down. And you should be feeling a hamstring stretch down the back of this right leg. Just wherever it lands, don't worry about the knee being straight. Some of you might want blocks under your hands if you can't quite get down to the ground. Big breath in and big breath out here. And then slide the hips forward again. Place your left hand on the mat and reach up and rotate round with the right. Find this nice rotation here. Try and keep the pelvis as square as you can. Place that hand back onto the ground, tuck your toes underneath, and then send this right leg back to downward facing dog. Well done. Soften the knees if you need and lengthen through your spine, feel long. Send your left leg now up to the sky, bend your knee and open out through this hip. Good, feel nice and open through that hip, but stay nice and even through your arms. Press away from the ground through your shoulders. And then come back to three-legged dog and bring this left leg through all the way. Don't worry if you've got to heave it with your arm, that's fine. And then let your back knee come down, but be nice and wide between your heel and your knee. Lift your heart. Brilliant. And then from here, just take yourself back and open out your arms. Good. So we're going to open the arms and drop forward at the same time. So really pushing back with your arms and sending this part of your chest forward. So you're really arching through that upper back. And then just come back halfway. Weight evenly between your knee and your front foot. And again, press down. Let the back hip open. Little heart lift, so the back of your chest really is opening out. Good. And then come back. And then one more last time. Press forward, open the heart. Press those elbows back. And then place your hands down and send your tailbone back. Let your head be heavy. So you're really working through this hamstring, letting the head come down towards your thigh, but don't worry if this leg is not straight. Just to where it feels good. Well done. Big breath in as you let go. Try and feel the breath out allows you to let go and find more movement here. And then slide yourself back forward, plant your right hand, reach up with your left. Find a little rotation. Good. And then bring this hand back down to the mat. Come up onto your toes of your back leg, runner's lunge. And then send this front leg back to downward facing dog. And then once you're in down dog, press away from the ground, let your head be heavy here. Remember only doing what feels nice for you. And then bring your knees back down to the ground and bring yourself back into 4-point kneeling. Reach up with your right hand up to the sky, find rotation, and then send it through and use this arm, this one that's on the ground, to lower your head down towards the ground. See if you can find rotation here. If you don't find the ground, then just find as much rotation as you can and wait there. If you can find the ground, that's great. And if that feels okay, then you can lift your other arm up and increase that rotation and open through this front shoulder. Big breath in here and big breath out. Well done. Plant that hand back to the ground, come back to 4-point kneeling. Let's do it with the other side. Left arm reaches up, find rotation up to the sky first. Come through and only come as far as your rotation allows. But if you can get all the way down, letting your head touch the ground, and then send the opposite arm up to the sky. Keep your pelvis as square as you can in this position. And then come back, hands down, and bring yourself back to 4-point kneeling. Just take your elbows down to where your hands were. And your elbows are shoulder distance, as is your arms and hands shoulder distance. And then with lots of care, just send your tailbone back, only as far as your shoulders will allow. Your shoulders will wind up somewhere along this line. Just wait there and just take some nice deep breaths. Breath in and breath out. Good. And then come back forward, roll up and roll yourself all the way up into down dog. And then just walk your feet to the front of the mat and let yourself come into forward fold with a heavy head. So just let everything release here. And then lift it halfway up, find a flat back, draw those shoulder blades down, and then release it back down to forward fold. Big breath in, reaches up to the sky, and breath out, bring hands down to the side body. Well done, good work. Okay, we're going to step back now with the left leg. So step back with the left leg into warrior two. So warrior two, the front knee is over the toe. Make sure it's not beyond the toe. And the back foot is in line with the back of your mat square. And the pelvis comes out at an angle. You're not trying to get to the front. You're in this angle halfway between. Bend that front knee, but make sure it doesn't go over your toe. But make sure it is in line with your toe. And then allow your arms to be soft here. Brilliant. Just take the hands behind you now and clasp them and open out through the front of your chest. So making your clavicles feel long. Good. And just let the head be soft, looking forward with your gaze. Okay, deep into that knee bend at the front, press away from the ground with the back. Tuck your tailbone under and really engage through your abdominals here. Good. And then bring your hands back and float. And then take your front hand down and reach over the top. Try and find a line between your top finger and your toe, and then start to stretch and reach. Try not to dump your weight into this front arm. Grow tall away from that front arm. In fact, if you can take your hand down your shin, and this becomes a lot more active. But make sure that you haven't dropped this shoulder forward. Keep pressing this shoulder back and reaching up and feel long. And then breathe into this side body. Big breath in, big breath out. Really reaching with this top arm, opening out through that top shoulder. Feel long through the side body. Good. Come back to your warrior two. No movement of your legs. And now straighten your front leg. Well done. Soften those shoulders. Lovely. Look through your middle finger. And then take yourself reaching forward and down at the same time to come into triangle pose. But pretend you're against a wall. So don't let this hip roll round. Peel this hip back and peel this top arm back. Good. And then with the top arm, you're going to bring that top arm round to join your bottom arm. And then really open it back out again. Good. Take your head with your hand if you can. And then as you come up, breath in, really open. And breath out, come down. One more time, breath in, reach up. And breath out, come down. Well done. From here, bend that front knee and bring yourself back to warrior two. Well done. And then from here, see if you can push yourself forward to stand up into mountain pose. Well done. I'll just change sides so that you can see me. Step back with the right foot this time. Find your warrior two. So warrior two has that back foot parallel with your back short edge of your mat. Front knee is bent. And then the body is in this slight angle here. Just make sure that front knee is over the toe. It hasn't rolled in. Keep pulling it out. And sit deep but engage those abdominals. Take the hands behind you. Open out and lift through your heart. Lift open through your clavicle. Good. And then release those arms and stretch them out. Look through that middle finger now and really feel open. And then place this bottom hand down and reach over the top with your top hand. Feel the distance between your top hand and your heel, this nice straight line, but keep peeling back this shoulder. It will desperately want to roll forward. So keep peeling it back and then keep lengthening through the arm. Great little side stretch here. If you want to make it a little bit more active, take the hand down the inside of the shin. Make sure that knee hasn't started to roll in yet. Well done. Keep lengthening, keep stretching, keep breathing into the side body here. Big breath in and big breath out. And then bring yourself back to Warrior Two. Straighten your front leg. Look through your front hand. Reach forward and tip down at the same time. Keep peeling this right hip back now. And then with your top arm, breath out as it comes down. And then breathe in and open out. Open wide, 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 wide through this part of your clavicle. And then breath out. Breath in, fill the lungs with air. And breath out. And again, breath in. And breath out. One more time, breath in. And breath out. Sink through the front leg, come back to Warrior Two. Look through that front finger and open wide through the front of your chest. Good, from here, come forward into your mountain pose. Big breath in and a big breath out. You can stay in mountain pose facing the front of your mat. I'll just show you here what I want you to do. Just draw your right knee into your chest. Be tall. So staying long through that left leg. And then with this right leg, just send it back and find a nice long balance position. Really balancing lots through this left leg. And then bring it back up, knee to chest. Hold it here. And place that leg down. Swap sides. A little bit of balance for you here. Hug that knee into your chest. Hug it in as tight as you can. Grow tall through the rest of your body. And then send this leg back into Warrior Three. Toe goes down, heel sent away, feel long. Whole body is facing down to the mat here. Tuck your chin in. And then bring it back through. Hug it back in. Bring both feet down into mountain pose. Big breath in, reach up. And breath in. Come all the way back down to the mat. Send yourself back into downward facing dog. And then place both knees down onto the mat. Just coming into a seated position now. Let's get into this asymmetric seated position with your left leg in front and your right leg behind. And then we're just going to use this back hip. I just want you to roll so your back hip comes off the mat and then draw back down to get two sit bones back on. Roll it off and roll it back. Good. Roll and release. And roll and release. Two more. Roll and release. Just allowing these hips to open and then make a deep crease back in it. Last one. And make a deep crease back in it. Then take this back leg and take it all the way across to the outer side of that bottom leg. And then wrap your left arm around that right knee and then look back. So turn your body round to the right. Open out through that back shoulder as much as you can and turn your head as far as you can. Breath in lengthens the spine and breath out rotates it a bit more. Keep lifting through the spine on every in-breath, out-breath rotate a bit more. Now keep this rotated position through the body, but turn your head opposite direction and find some nice length through the neck joints of the relationship between the neck and the shoulder. Big breath in and big breath out. Well done. And then come back to the centre. Let's swap over your front leg. So now your right leg is in front, left leg is behind, and sit as squarely as you can. Don't worry if this doesn't feel quite as even. Maybe one side might be slightly worse than the other side. Feel deep into this crease to begin with, and then lift out of the hip. And then deeply into the hip, and then come out. Just make sure that your knees aren't sore with this. It might be that you need to change the angle of this knee if it's sore, or pull your toes up towards your nose. Never work with anything that's feeling uncomfortable though. Just skip it if it's not comfortable. Okay. Seek advice. Bringing this pelvis back down, opening the hip out, draw it back down, open the hip out. Last one, draw it back down and stay here. And then bring this back hip all the way across to the outer side of your other one and just square yourself up. And then take your right arm and wrap it round that left knee and then open yourself out round to the left. Try and sit down through both sit bones if you can. Breath in lengthens the spine and breath out turns you further. Actively use this front arm to help draw you round more. So it's a very active stretch, trying to find a bit of openness through that back shoulder so that you're encouraging that rotation to happen through your thoracic spine. Which as cyclists, this is an area we don't really go into much when you're on a bike. And then once you're there, keep the body round to the back as you turn your head to the front. As far to the front as feels comfortable, but keep opening out through that left shoulder at the back. Keep really rotating and finding more space, more distance between the 2 points. Well done. Big breath in and big breath out. And then bring yourself back to the centre and just hug your knees in. Give them a bit of a cuddle here. Well done. Just one more thing. We'll come onto your side. Come into 4-point kneeling, and then you're going to come into side plank, but just a low side plank. So from 4-point kneeling, turn your right foot round and come up onto your right hand and your right knee. Push away from the ground so you've got lots of energy here. And then take hold of your front top leg and then pull your front leg back as you squeeze through the bottom glute, and you can even open through your heart, so pressing and opening the body and the leg. Try and bring your heel back towards your buttock here. A really nice long big stretch for this quadriceps and this hip flexor. Yeah, big breath in and big breath out here. And then release and come back to your 4-point kneeling. Let's do it on the other side. You turn your foot and come up into this position. Then take hold of that top foot and press that top foot back, heels coming in towards your bottom, knees going back beyond your body, and then a little bit of a lift through your upper body as well. Push away from the ground and feel long through your quads and your hip flexors at the front of this top leg. Keep squeezing through the bottom hip. Hold it here. Nice. And then bring yourself back to 4-point kneeling. Just send yourself back for a moment and just find this nice position of child's pose. Really reach those arms out forward and let your head come down. Well done. And then press yourselves forward, come into half plank, and then just bending your elbows, lower yourself with real grace down to the floor. And let's take a cobra stretch here. So, hands by your shoulders, and then press up and arch through your back. Draw your shoulder blades down and let your clavicle shine forward, and then roll back down. Try and do this so that you're thinking about your upper back as much as possible. So roll through your upper back first, then take it to your lower back, and then roll it back down. Try not to just go straight to your lower back, yeah? So we want to roll, so rolling up, finding lovely length, drop the shoulders, lengthen through the neck, and then roll yourself back down. One last time like this. Roll up, drop the shoulders, lengthen through the neck, and then roll back down. This time, take your right hand across your body at 45 degrees and take your left hand out to the side. And this time we're going to do a cobra with a rotation. So now we lift up and rotate away and then come back down. Make sure as you're doing this, you're keeping this bottom hip down on the ground and back down. So there's no rotation of the pelvis here. Lift and rotate and then bring it back down. One more time. Lift and rotate and then bring it back down. Let's do the other side. So left hand comes across at 45 degrees, right hand out to the side. And then as you push and rotate, keep your right hip down. And then come back. Don't worry if this doesn't feel as if you're going too far. Maybe it's just because you really are stiff. We're really isolating this upper back. We're really isolating to see how much rotation you've got. Try not to make sure that you're not nipping your lower back. Keep your tummies tight and flatten down through the lower back if you need. Last one. Well done. And then send yourself back into child's pose. But open your knees, bring your feet together and send yourself back and let your head drop to the mat. Well done. Just lying here, lengthening. Just maybe walk your fingers a little bit further away. And so you're pressing down through your thoracic spine and really opening through your arms. Nice. Big breath in and big breath out here. Last one. And then bring yourself up and roll onto your backs. And once you're on your back, we'll just do a couple of nice spinal rotations. So just take your feet wide as your mat. So feet are as wide as your mat. And then let both knees come over to one side. Take your arms into cactus arms again, so they're nice and open through the chest. So if you're taking your knees over to your left hand side, your right hip is the one that will feel the stretch across the top of that hip. Feel nice and open, trying to draw that knee down towards the mat here. Just breath in and breath out. Whenever you're stretching, try not to force anything. Try and use your breath out to switch muscles off rather than force down. Good, so we're lengthening through this tissue at the front of this right leg when your knees go to the left. And then bring everything back through the centre and take both knees over to the right. And this time it's your left hip that will feel the openness through the top of that hip there. Let your other knee just come down to the mat. Arms are in cactus arms. Don't worry if your hands aren't touching the ground. They will do eventually. Just a big breath in and breath out. Try and soften anything that is too tight. And you need length, but try and get the length through relaxation rather than force. And then bring everything back to the centre. Bring your feet back in. And this time hug your right knee into your chest and send your left leg away again. Feel open through the front of that chest. Open your right arm out to the side as you bring your left leg across the body, letting your left knee come down towards the mat. Turn your head if you can towards your right hand. But again, just be careful here. This is a big stretch, so edge and just wait there. Just allow your rotation to happen, turning the head as far as you can, keeping that arm out and the knee sinking down towards the mat as far as you can. Just finding that rotation, big rotation in the spine. Good, and then bring this knee back. Let's swap over. So send your right leg away, open out your left hand. Take this left knee over to the right and find the rotation. Keep your left shoulder blade on the ground and then look towards your left hand with your head just as far as you can as that knee drops down towards the right. Get a big rotation here, so keep it nice and simple. Breath in and breath out. Well done. And then bring everything back to the centre. Place both feet onto the ground now and zip your knees together. And again, come back into cactus arms, but take both knees this time glued together to the left. Once you get them to the left, keep the thighs together, but just straighten out the lower leg. And then just let the weight of the lower leg do a little bit of stretching down through the glute and down through the iliotibial band. Just pull your toes back up towards your nose and keep both shoulder blades down on your mat. Well done. Just take it to wherever it goes. Don't worry what this really looks like. Just appreciate how it feels. Nothing should feel too bad. And then come back through the centre. So just a nice gentle stretch the other way. So take both feet across to the right and then straighten out that left leg. Let the left leg hang, keep the left shoulder blade on the ground and just wait here, allowing the buttock and iliotibial band just to relax out and just wait and relax. So as I said right at the beginning of this program, it may not feel great the first few times you do this, but just drip it. Don't feel you have to get into all of these shapes on your first attempt. Then bring it all back to the centre and then hug your knees into your chest and send both knees away in their own direction. And if you can, see if you can straighten your legs. If this just feels too difficult, then just stay with your knees slightly bent or fully bent, wherever feels good. And then allow gravity to help you open out those inner thighs. And just wait here, just allowing those inner thighs to stretch. Lovely. And then bring both knees back in together, give them a hug. And then send both legs out long as you can. And just find your palms facing up to the ceiling. So in yoga this is called Shavasana. This is a really important pose. This is a resting pose. So again, just trying to feel, close your eyes and just try and feel as much of the mat underneath you as you can. Try and feel that your palms are facing up to the ceiling, that your hips are open and relaxed, and your body is just melting down into the mat. And just feeling the air going in with a breath in and allow it to come out just completely passively. And as you breathe out, just allowing the body just to melt down into the mat a little further. Opening out through the hips, through the shoulders, letting gravity really open us out here. Big breath in and out as we re-nourish the body. I'm just going to stay here for another moment as you just really allow yourself to open out and surrender yourself to the ground. Long, long position, opening through the hips, opening through the shoulders, shoulder blades, drawing together. Well done. And then slowly bring yourself up into a seated position. You can sit on a block or something if you have one close by, and just come into a seated position. Open out through the hips just as far as they feel. If this really doesn't feel good, then you can always bring yourself to this position. But maybe sitting on something will help you find some nice length through the spine. Take your hands behind you and then open through the clavicles. Press your hands back away from you. Feel long. Well done. And then bring yourself back. Hands down. Feel as if you're going to grow through the crown of your head. Well done. I hope that now your cycling will feel a little easier on the bike, and this little series of exercises will really help you to open out through the front, let you lift through the upper part of your back and open out through your hips. So I hope you've enjoyed it. If it all feels really difficult, then just do it a few times a week. Just see if you do it for a few times a week over maybe 6 weeks, how this might actually help to open you out and open your chest out. If you're getting any pain on the bike, it's amazing how counteracting some of those static postures that you get yourself into can really help. And also just open tissue out, and sometimes it can even make your whole cycling a little bit more effective. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you so much for joining me on the Acliff YouTube channel. And remember that we also do Zoom classes. So if anybody gets hooked on yoga, then please join us for our live Zoom classes. Get in touch with Acliff Physiotherapy or myself, and you can join us from wherever in the world you are. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed that. Happy cycling and happy yoga. Thanks very much. Bye.